In the crisp dawn light of March 12, 2026, the automotive cosmos held its breath in Hangzhou, China. Crowds gathered under towering digital screens as Geely, the visionary conglomerate that had long ago absorbed Volvo's engineering soul, rolled out its latest creation, the Galaxy M7. This was no ordinary midsize SUV, clocking in at roughly 4,770 millimeters long, 1,905 millimeters wide, 1,685 millimeters tall, and riding on a generous 2,785 millimeter wheelbase. It looked every bit the practical five-seater family hauler. Yet beneath its sleek, wind-cheating skin, with a drag coefficient of just 0.26c that sliced through air like a blade, it harbored a thermodynamic miracle. The drive and RPM video that documented the moment exploded online with the headline, "Broken Physics, Toyota is done." The China 2026 SUV going global. Viewers worldwide leaned in, stunned, as the narrator declared the end of range anxiety and the traditional hybrid era. Enter Dr. Elena Voss, a veteran thermodynamics professor and former Toyota consultant who had spent decades preaching the immutable laws of energy conversion. She had flown in skeptical, notebook in hand, muttering about the great lie of modern motoring, that no combustion engine could ever exceed 40% thermal efficiency without violating physics itself. But as the Galaxy M7's doors opened with a soft hydraulic whisper, Elena felt the first crack in her certainty. Geely engineers, smiling with quiet confidence, invited her behind the wheel. This isn't just a car, it's Nord-Thor EMI, the system that rewrote the rulebook. The heart of the beast was a 1.5-liter naturally aspirated four-cylinder engine, codenamed BHE-15. On paper, it produced a modest 82 kilowatts, yet its thermal efficiency reached an astonishing 46.5%, some test benches even flirting with 47.26%. Elena's mind raced through the science she had taught for years. How? The Miller cycle kept the intake valves open longer during compression, effectively shortening the compression stroke while allowing a longer expansion stroke for more power from each combustion event. High-tumble combustion chambers swirled air into tornado-like vortices, ensuring every molecule of fuel burned completely and rapidly. Split cooling systems maintained the cylinder block and head at deliberately different temperatures, minimizing heat loss and friction. Swirl ducts in the intake further optimized airflow. Low-friction coatings and precision manufacturing reduced every parasitic loss. The engine no longer wasted 60% of its fuel as heat. It captured nearly half as usable work. "This defies every textbook I've written," Elena whispered, her voice trembling. Compared to Toyota's best hybrids hovering at 41% or even BYD's DMI 5.0, the Nord-Thor engine stood alone, a category killer. But efficiency alone wasn't the revolution. The one-speed eDHT transmission, electric dedicated hybrid transmission, sealed the miracle. Gone were the clunky three-speed DHTs of earlier Geely models or the complex planetary gear sets of legacy hybrids. This 11-in-1 integrated unit paired a P1 generator motor with a potent P3 drive motor delivering up to 160 kilowatts of instant electric torque. The engine ran only at its optimal RPM sweet spot, generating electricity that the P3 motor fed directly to the wheels. Mechanical complexity vanished. No shift forks, no synchronizers, no heavy actuators. At highway speeds above 120 kilometers per hour, a single lightweight clutch engaged for direct drive, bypassing electrical conversion losses entirely. The result? Electric-first performance with seamless, silent operation and reliability that mechanics would love. Elena floored the accelerator on the test track. The M7 surged forward with EV-like immediacy, the engine humming softly in the background only when needed. It's not hybrid driving, it's electric living with unlimited backup. Powering the silent miles was the Aegis short-blade battery, a puncture-proof LFP or lithium iron phosphate, pack of approximately 29.8 kilowatt-hours. In pure electric mode, it delivered 225 kilometers of range under CLTC testing, enough for a full week of city commuting without touching a drop of fuel. But the real safety story came during the God Shield demonstrations that left Elena speechless. Engineers subjected the cells to 8 simultaneous needle punctures, pistol shots at point-blank range, prolonged submersion in seawater, and aggressive chassis scraping. Surface temperatures barely climbed above 40 degrees Celsius. No thermal runaway, no fire, no smoke. Cell-to-body integration turned the battery into structural steel, boosting torsional rigidity while lowering the center of gravity for sports car handling. Volvo-level crash safety standards, already legendary under Geely ownership, were not just met, they were redefined. Together, full battery and a single tank of petrol delivered an almost mythical 1,730 kilometers of combined range. Real-world fuel consumption hovered at 2.67 liters per 100 kilometers in normal hybrid operation, climbing only to 3.35 liters per 100 kilometers even when the battery was depleted. Elena calculated mentally over 80 miles per gallon in mixed driving. The death of the traditional petrol station, the Drive and RPM narrator had proclaimed, and now she believed it. Yet raw hardware was only half the story. The Snapdragon 8295 chip, Qualcomm's 5-nanometer AI powerhouse, more capable than many flagship laptops, served as the car's digital brain. Running Flyme Auto OS, it analyzed route topography, traffic density, weather forecasts, and even driver habits, optimizing energy flow up to 50 times per second. On a simulated long haul from Shanghai to Beijing, Elena watched the system in action. It predicted a steep climb ahead and pre-charged the battery via regenerative braking on the preceding descent. It idled the engine during stop-and-go traffic, letting the P3 motor handle everything silently. It switched seamlessly between pure EV, series hybrid, and parallel modes without the driver ever noticing. 50 optimizations per second. This isn't a car, it's a living ecosystem. As dusk fell, Elena took the Galaxy M7 on an extended road trip across the Yangtze Delta. The spacious cabin welcomed her with premium materials, ambient lighting that shifted with mood, a thumping audio system, and massive screens that felt like extensions of her smartphone. 5 adults plus luggage fit comfortably. The ride was plush yet composed, the 0.26 seed body-cutting wind noise to a whisper. In the city, pure electric mode delivered serene, zero-emission progress. On the highway, the Nord-Thor system sipped fuel so sparingly that the gauge barely moved. Range anxiety, once the bane of every EV owner and even many hybrid drivers, simply ceased to exist. Elena stopped once for coffee, not fuel, and still arrived with 400 kilometers of reserve remaining. Word of the M7 rippled outward. Toyota loyalists scrolled the Drive and RPM video in disbelief. Tesla enthusiasts debated whether this PHEV bridge made pure battery electric vehicles temporarily obsolete. Legacy brands in Detroit and Stuttgart scrambled for answers. Geely announced global export plans, positioning the M7 as the affordable family SUV that delivered supercar range and EV refinement at a price point accessible to millions. Environmentalists calculated the carbon savings, millions of tons of CO2 avoided because drivers no longer needed oversized batteries or frequent charging infrastructure. Economists foresaw the slow decline of traditional petrol stations as long-haul travel became effortless. Back at the launch venue, Elena stood before the assembled press. Her notebook, once filled with skeptical equations, now contained only one underlined sentence. Physics isn't broken. We simply learned new rules. The Galaxy M7 wasn't merely a vehicle. It was the bridge between the combustion past and the electric future. It proved that Chinese engineering, fueled by Geely's bold vision, could outpace decades of Western and Japanese dominance. Toyota's hybrid Crown, long unchallenged, now faced a worthy rival that delivered more range, better efficiency, superior safety, and smarter intelligence for less complexity. As night settled over Hangzhou, Elena drove the M7 into the horizon. The Snapdragon chip quietly adjusted for the cooling evening air, the Aegis battery hummed with stored energy, and the Nordthor engine rested in perfect efficiency. In the rearview mirror, the city lights faded, but ahead stretched an open road of 1,730 kilometers. And beyond that, an entire industry transformed. Range anxiety was dead. The traditional hybrid era had met its match. And somewhere, in boardrooms across the globe, executives whispered the same three words that had launched a revolution broken physics. The Galaxy M7 rolled onward, a 5-seater family SUV that had quietly, elegantly, and irrefutably rewritten the laws of automotive possibility. Geely had not just launched a car, it had launched the future, and the world finally was ready to drive it.